Welcome, Seawolves, to this week's Stony Brook Newsbreak. I'm Yasmina Pepik.
And I'm Nadia Islam. Here are our top stories for today.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen has landed in El Salvador to meet with Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele. Van Hollen will be attempting to negotiate the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was wrongfully deported to a prison in El Salvador.
I hope to meet with representatives of the government. I hope to have the chance to actually see Kilmar and see what his condition is. But we are going to keep fighting because this is a miscarriage of justice. The Supreme Court has ruled 9-0, that he was illegally taken out of the country and put in a prison in El Salvador.
U.S. President Donald Trump met with President Bukele at the White House earlier this week to discuss the migration pact between the two countries. President Bukele stated that he will not return Salvadorian Abrego to the U.S., accusing him of being a terrorist despite a Supreme Court order to facilitate Abrego's release. Trump administration officials have refused to follow the court order, with Attorney General Pam Bondi continuing to justify Abrego Garcia's deportation.
2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country.
U.S. District Judge Paula Zenas in Maryland will order sworn testimonies from the Trump administration, demanding an explanation for the refusal to comply with the order for Abrego Garcia's release. The process is expected to take 2 weeks to complete.
President Donald Trump called out Harvard University on Truth Social, calling it a joke that teaches hate and stupidity. This comes in response to Harvard rejecting the Trump administration's demand for the university to adopt reforms to admissions policies, eliminating programs that advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus, and to not recognize certain clubs.
Harvard should apologize for the egregious anti-Semitism that took place on their college campus against Jewish American students, subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already, and we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism.
Harvard President Ellen Garber declined to implement these changes, maintaining that they threatened the university's independence, declaring that the university would not surrender its independence for its constitutional rights. The nation's oldest and Ivy League university set off one of the most important clashes yet between President Donald Trump and an establishment institution. The Trump administration has frozen $2.2 billion in grants and $60 million in contracts to Harvard in retaliation, citing the school's refusal to limit campus activism. In another Truth Social post, Trump claimed that Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity, noting that it teaches sickness. Harvard is now the seventh elite university to be targeted by Trump's attack on campus dissent, mainly fueled by pro-Palestinian protests. This move is a part of a broader effort to challenge centers of what it regards as liberal power, including the courts, federal bureaucracy, and the media without federal funding. Harvard's medical, scientific, and tech research will come to a sudden stop.
That things have stopped, which a lot of it has. Like one day they're doing research and then the next day they can't. It's also the fact that they can't plan.
Hamas is currently reviewing Israel's latest 45-day truce proposal. They say that the demand for disarmament crosses red lines and will not be accepted. The deal would release 10 living Israeli hostages in exchange for nearly 1,400 Palestinian detainees and prisoners serving life sentences. The first hostage to be released by Hamas is Israeli soldier Adnan Alexander, who holds U.S. citizenship. However, the two sides would need to negotiate a permanent end to the war within 45 days while remaining disarmed in order for the remaining hostages to be released by Hamas.
U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs continue to shake up global trades as China suspends exports of rare earth minerals and magnets. With this move, China threatens to cut American companies off from supplies crucial to the assembly of cars, drones, robots, missiles, and spacecrafts. Special export licenses are now required to obtain the minerals, but there is currently no system for issuing them.
Job prospects are soaring in Kentucky after the approval of medicinal marijuana usage. The first medicinal marijuana development in the state, Centaurus Farms, is set to open in 2026. The facility will provide scores of new job opportunities for residents in Monticello County.
For a family in Monticello, Kentucky, the per capita income is about $36,000. So that changes the lifestyle and all for the citizens of Monticello.
According to local officials, residents can earn a salary of more than $60,000 a year, nearly twice the average of per capita income residents' families receive. The drug will be used to help people suffering from health conditions such as PTSD, cancer, and more.
That'll do it for this week's Newsbreak. Signing off from the studio, my name is Nadia Islam.
And I'm Yasmina Pepik. We'll see you next week.